welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the Abarth 595 Essesse. Now in this video I'm going to talk about something quite different. I'm not going to talk too much about this car in particular, although if you want a quick snapshot of what this is a 1.4 litre 180 horsepower turbocharged car. There are other videos on the channel about this car, so if you want to watch more content on this, I'll leave a couple of cards, but also I would love to, let me get in front of these people first, let's say, there we go. But also, I would also love it if you would subscribe to the channel. We're nearly at 30,000 subscribers at the time of recording this video. And if you do hit subscribe, please make sure to hit the notifications icon as well so you get notified of any future content. Now, the purpose of this video, I'm going to be very real with you. I'm not going to use too much B-roll. I just want to have a conversation because it's something that I wanted to talk about for some time. It's something that everyone gets very frustrated about, and it's something that I want to share with you based on some of the information that I received, particularly when I was out in Italy for Abarth Day. Why can't Abarth breach 200 horsepower in these cars? Now, that might seem like a really simple question, you know, but we all know within the world of the community that these cars will run 230 horsepower on this turbo, on this block. In fact, they'll run more on this block with ease, and they'll do it reliably. Now, without beating around the bush, the real reason and the very simple reason as to why Abarth can't get over 200 horsepower is plain and simply the flipping EU and emissions. Now you're probably thinking, well, that's really self-explanatory, but I want to dig deeper a little bit more. So if we all remember the Abarth 695 Biposto, Abarth's most powerful 500 or 695 it was in the range, and it ran 190 horsepower. That car only ran 190 horsepower because they stripped out the air conditioning. Because of emissions, Abarth had to strip out air conditioning to get that kind of power. Now, I know that that car is a very track-focused car, and in a track-focused car, you just don't need AC. But in order for it to be road compliant, road legal, and pass the emissions regulations, they had to take the AC out if they wanted to push the boundaries of 190. Now, for those of you who are subscribed, you'll know that I was in Italy for Abarth Day, but also for the launch of the brand new Abarth 695 70th Anniversario. Now, I was hoping, I was praying that that car would run 200 horsepower, and the moment it was announced, it didn't. I was in fact, I was quite disappointed, because when you look at the competition, you look at like the Fiesta STs, you look at other cars, these are still quick, don't get it twisted. You look at other cars amongst the competition, they are all pushing over the 200 mark now. So what is it that Abarth need to do? Now, if I take you back a few years to when I used to have an Abarth, and those in the community will be familiar, you remember the good old Euro 5 days. Now, the Euro 5 was the kind of category of regulation and emission that at the time was allowed. And what that allowed Abarth to do was to spit a whole load of fuel into the exhausts of the cars, and you used to get this glorious kind of crackle on overrun, and the pops and bangs you would get on shifts would be ridiculous. It was so cool. It was everything that Abarth was about. Then came Euro 6, and Euro 6 unfortunately killed it for everyone. All of those lovely pops and bangs, they wouldn't happen anymore. The only time you'd really get anything out of that exhaust from a pop and bang perspective was if you revved the absolute nuts off it when it was cold and on idle. So we lost that, and what it feels like to me is that it feels like we're going backwards in the car world. And I think we're all obviously, you know, we all know what's happening. We all know we'll be fully electric by, you know, 2040 or whatever it is. I'll probably bring it forward knowing the EU, which is quite disheartening. It's quite sad for a petrol head, and I'll be out of a job pretty soon as well, because no one will watch my videos, because no one wants to watch electric car stuff. But the point I'm trying to make is that whilst we're all super frustrated and we're like, we want a 200 horsepower Abarth, I want it as much as you do, but Abarth's hands are tied at the moment. Now, what would it take to get a 200 horsepower car? Well, the first thing, if they were to do something like that, you would lose the characteristics of the exhaust, because we'd be starting to enter the realm of OPF and PPF filters, that sacrilegious word that unfortunately has killed so many brands already, like BMWs that have OPF filters all over them. Audis are struggling to make emissions, so they're having to chuck in hybrid diesels into their performance cars. Is that something that we really want from this? I don't know. Where I think that Abarth would need to go is, first of all, there needs to be a whole lot of money chucked in for R&D. That's, you know, that's the most important thing. And at the moment, R&D for Abarth, just, it's not there. The money isn't there, and it's not on the top of the priority list for FCA. I think FCA, well, what they need to do first of all is lock in what, you know, the future Fiat 500s and, you know, the cars that sell well for them, and the cars that ultimately are going to keep making the money. That's where they need to chuck the R&D in. Which breaks my heart a little bit, if I'm honest with you, because it almost feels like, you know, what's happening to this? You know, it's just sitting there at 180 horsepower, and I'm like, oh, it's so annoying. It's so annoying. Now, I don't know whether or not the whole regulation is on first registration. You can see where I'm going with this now. Is that if, for example, the car had to be registered at a certain emissions perspective, is it something a dealer could offer as an optional package that you can buy, which kind of pushes the power up to 200? I mean, even a simple remap will get you 200 horsepower from this. I tell you what, the Akrapovic exhaust on the 595 Essesse is a winner. And that makes me, out of all the cars out there at the moment, I think this one here, granted it sits at the top of the 595 food chain, but I think it's just such a cool car. And the beauty with these cars as well, and this is something else, is, you know, we all want more power, but the thing with the 595 and just the Abarths in general is it's usable power. As in, I can really drive this like a hooligan and not even really break the speed limit. Like, as in, this is a 60 mile an hour road, and that acceleration straight to 60, yeah, I still sense that fulfillment. And I guess when you add more power, you lose that a little bit. But anyway, I digress a little bit. Where I think that Abarth needs to go, and where I think ultimately it's going to go, and this isn't inside knowledge, I don't know anything, this is just my own assumptions based on how the market is going, and I'd love to hear your thoughts below. I think that there won't be any real development on this car until we see a electric version of something like a Fiat 500. Now, there's a question to say is, do Abarth just say, do you know what, we'll throw all of our money, all of our R&D, and go and create an all-out electric Abarth? Now, I know it kind of goes against the point, but I guess I would rather see a fully electric Abarth that runs, I guess, the equivalent of 250 horsepower than not seeing anything else at all, if that makes sense. So I guess it's a tough one. And as I said earlier on, it really frustrates me, and I know it frustrates you. But I just wanted to kind of make sure that everyone was aware, because I don't know, I'm sure you are aware, but there'll be some people who don't. A lot of people are just going to throw it out there and say, oh, Abarth are being lazy, they can't be arsed, or they're not doing anything, they're not improving the performance of the 595. They want to. When I spoke to them in Italy, they're just as frustrated as we are. But it's about justifying the money for R&D versus the commercial sales of the cars, and which one's going to get you the most bang for your buck. This isn't a slouch, guys. This is not a slouchy car. It's still nimble. You feel the speed a lot more because it is such a lightweight package. And in the form of the Essesse, I think it's probably one of the best ones you can buy at the moment, if I'm being honest with you. The Essesse gives you things like mechanical LSD, carbon dash, carbon rear buckets. It gives you so much. The colour's superb. You get all the Uconnect stuff as standard. You get the lovely Alcantara and carbon fibre wheel as standard. Out of all of the cars out in the range, I think this one for me is the one. If I had to go and buy a new Abarth, this is probably the one I would go for. The 70th Anniversario, whilst I love it, I don't like the fact that it doesn't have an Akrapovic exhaust. This has an Akrapovic, and as you've heard, it just sings all the way through the gears. It's just wicked. But to summarise and I guess to finalise, and I'm sure you're probably sick of just seeing my face, because I thought it's important just to have this discussion rather than showcasing everything. I've overlaid some B-roll as we go, but the point I'm trying to make is that I hope everyone kind of understands where Abarth are at the moment, where they currently sit, and why we can't get 200 horsepower out of this car, even though we know that the engines will take it. I ran 250 horsepower on a stock block on this car with ease. People are running 330 horsepower in cars like this with, you know, yes, you change the pistons a little, you know, you change the pistons and rods. In fact, I don't even think you can change the rods. I think the rods are forged already. Correct? I believe, I'm not certain. But, you know, you put some rods and the pistons in this, you upgrade the turbo, you can run 330 horsepower. This car is such a capable tuning platform. The problem is that where Abarth are at the moment, because of what they believe in and what they want to do, to allow everyone to feel, you know, the way it makes me smile, the way I feel when I drive this car, I feel like a little hooligan. And the reason I feel like a hooligan is because of the way they've built the car, the way they have gone ASBO with the exhaust noises, and they've really pushed the limit on emissions. You know, there was one point earlier on with the Euro 5 cars, I think, where Abarth were getting fined on every car they sold until they all got rid of them all. So it is a really difficult position for them, and I completely get it. There is still, you know, there's no real excuse for the next car that they bring out, and God knows when they'll bring it out. I mean, it needs a 6th gear for one, end of. And it needs some kind of development to the engine. It needs to be different. Now, we've heard about things like PSA mergers and stuff, and it's quite an interesting topic, and a number of people have asked me messages on Instagram, yeah, what do you think of the merger? And it kind of came out of left field. I really had no idea it was coming, if I'm honest with you. It really took me by surprise. Now, I think there's plus points and there's down points of it, if I'm honest with you. I think if you look at what PSA can bring to the party, they've got nice interiors, don't get me wrong, you know, but really they're probably benefiting more. You know, imagine them putting the 2.9 litre V6 bi-turbo engine in one of their cars. You know, it's, and I mean, well, you wouldn't put something like that in a Vauxhall, would you? But you know what I mean, in a Peugeot. And I guess there's a question though to say that, you know, is the next Abarth going to have a PSA engine if they merge? And that will be interesting, like a 1.6 turbo that runs 200 horsepower. I just don't know what the answer is, guys. But what I do know is that as much as you guys are disappointed with the lack of power out of the factory, I echo that disappointment. But at the same time, I still see the brand trying to do everything that they can to make the sales they need to keep operating. So yeah, to end on a slightly somber note, that's it. I hope that helps, and I hope that kind of gives a little bit of an explanation, my thoughts of, you know, why they won't get to 200 horsepower anytime soon with this platform. And I hope you enjoyed the video. As I said, thank you to Abarth for the Abarth 595 Essesse, a wicked car. There are loads of videos on the channel on this car, so if you want to see more, please do subscribe. And if you did like the video, please leave a like, it really does help. We're nearly at 30,000 subscribers at the time of recording this. Your support means everything. But my name is Stef. You guys have been awesome. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all very soon on the next one. Thanks for watching.